Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to the Mackay Entertainment and Convention Centre and a night of nights featuring top-class boxing. On behalf of Angelo DiCarlo and Ace Boxing Promotions, welcome to the Pride of the North. 2 major titles on the card tonight and plenty more for your enjoyment. First, an Australian welterweight title clash. The champion, Tyson Best, goes to war with the challenger, Dylan Bargero, in a 10-rounder. And then, of course, the main event takes on an international favour. The WBO Global Super Lightweight title is on the line when one of Australia's rising superstars, Liam Parrow, meets the Italian power puncher, Massimiliano Balasai. What a night. 7 sensational professional fights scheduled for your entertainment. So strap yourself in and get ready for some great boxing action. Before we start, Ace Boxing would like to sincerely thank our major sponsors, Woolham Constructions, Craig Percival, and Oxworks, Glenn Hosking. Of course, without these guys, the fights just don't happen. Bring out the fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to go. First of all, fighting out of the red corner, he comes here tonight from Brisbane on a seek and destroy mission. Wearing the black trunks with the green piping, he tipped the scales at 61.72. He trains at Cooperoo, boxing under the watchful eye of Harry Costi. Seeking boxing glory, I give you Jacob Mahoney. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent standing in the way of that boxing glory and fighting out of the blue corner. A young man who has prepared well. He comes here from Townsville. And tonight he comes from the Dreams boxing team. He's wearing the black trunks and the red piping. Ladies and gentlemen, fired up and ready to go. He's trained and cornered by Shane Hooper. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mark Snook. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout scheduled for 4 by 3-minute rounds of boxing. Your referee, Mr. Tony Kettlewell.
I give you instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Let's go. Touch him up.
Three more fights to the main one here tonight. I'm Kylie Meehan. I'm joined with Nathan DiCarlo. We've got Snook in the blue corner, Mahoney in the red. Both fighters have had 3 fights and experience, and very pleased to be joined here now by one of the country's leading, I should say the country's leading cruiserweight, Mark Bam Bam Flanagan. How's things, Mark?
Yeah, good, Carly. Thanks for having me on, mate.
It is our pleasure. 2 world titles you fought the cruiserweight. I must say in the first one, the complaint was you didn't let your hands go. And I got to say in that second one in France, you did everything. You did let your hands go, and it was a good fight.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I did let my hands go in that second fight, but unfortunately I ran out a bit of gas halfway through, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, but you are fighting the world's best. You are fighting
and
at
I
the
want to
very
continue
top
doing
level.
That. Yep.
Good on you, mate. It's really good to see.
Jacob Mahoney, you can see coming out of the red corner, he has got a negative record. Obviously, he's had the 5 fights, hasn't had a win yet, but out of those 5 fights, he's fought some serious opposition, and one of them is the main eventer tonight, Liam Parrow, Carly.
Wow, he's not taking any shortcuts. He's hit straight in there. I think it's very important as a fighter. You want to make it in boxing, you need your team needs to match you correctly, you know, which is not always easy here in Australia because you just take what you can get. But if you can match your fighter and get them on a winning record, they seem, you know, they come in the fight and they approach everything with a little bit more confidence. Mark, you'd know so much about that, you know, how serious it is matching your fighter, right, and bringing them along as they progress.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely important match your fighter right, you know. And like you said, Carly, in the Australian ranks, usually you just fight what you can get. And I find that a lot of fighters, their first 10 fights are usually some of the hardest fights because they've got to get out of that domestic scene and get past them first 10 fights first.
Exactly.
And then usually they can pick and choose after that.
And it's usually that first 10 fights where you're sorting out who's who. Isn't that right? You're
right.
sorting out, these guys are going on, these guys won't. But this is where you find out. And hats off to everyone who hops in the ring and gives it a go. Like these guys here tonight, Mahoney and Snook, you know, their records, they've had just a handful of fights, I think. 3 for Snook, 5 for Mahoney. But they're bringing out the best of each other. They're trying everything. It's an evenly matched contest.
You can see they've got every punch in the book here. They're not lacking in skills. It's just obviously they've been in there with a high caliber opponent. So both boys, even though Mark Snook, his last fight was his first win, he had a really good win that night. Actually, he fought an amateur star in Timothy Williams and won a split decision there in his last fight back in December last year. So I think this fight is an even matchup, even though on paper they're both negative records.
Yeah.
It's a very even match, and that's all that people want to see, a good even contest.
Good even contest. You know, Bam Bam, you'll know too that a lot of times guys have losing records. Sometimes a guy will lose a fight, but it's only an easy fix. It's something that they were doing wrong that, you know, you can, if you address it, if his coach addresses it, they can fix it, and then he'll become a better fighter.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you can't just look at a record and take that. When you look at a record, you really got to look into the record. The guys they fought, what weight they fought. You know,
how much notice they had.
It's exactly right. There's a lot that goes into it. You know, and this is a real good matchup. You know, I've actually known Mark Snook for a while. He's been fighting for a long time since I was before I even started my amateur career. Mark Snook has been around, so he's been around a long time.
I got to ask you, Bam Bam. You fought Arsen Gulamarin in your last fight, then a Slebedev a few fights before that. Out of all your fights, who was your hardest fight so far?
Oh, geez. It's hard to say. You know, they're all hard in their own different ways. And, in my career, you know, sometimes I've been my own worst enemy as well. So sometimes I'm actually the hardest person.
That makes sense to fighters. That makes sense. A lot of sense. And sometimes I think a boxing trainer can be the most frustrating job in the world because you know what your fighter can do. You know a lot about this, Nathan. You know what your fighter can do, what your charge can do. What you've seen him do so many times in the gym. Sometimes when it comes to fight night, they just don't do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Mark tapped on it a little bit earlier too. It's because Australian boxing isn't obviously, unless you're on the top 1%, you're not making enough money to be able to make it your job. So other people like Mark himself, he has to go to work. It's his second job that he has to worry about as well. So it's not their only focus, and that sometimes tells in the ring.
And I've got to say, there's such a great deal of talent coming up throughout the Australian rankings. And like you said, it really does help when we get major sponsors on board. Guys like Woolham Constructions, Bill Chaser, Oxworks. All these promotions, you know, these sponsors, they really do help, and especially when a fighter gets a sponsor, major sponsor, and he can just concentrate fully on boxing training, it does help you, and I believe it's the only way to get a fighter onto the next level.
I think it makes a big difference, yeah. Like you said, like a lot of guys, they work every day of the week and they train in their spare time, and it's still their passion. It's their passion more than it is work.
Yeah.
And you want to see them guys be able to commit fully to the sport that they love.
I mean, you've got to get up at 4 a.m. and do your road work, and then you've got to go to work, and you want to come to the gym. You know, you go to the gym a bit tired. Usually they find something to motivate themselves. But if a fighter can go to the gym relaxed and rested, he works hard in the gym, it's obvious. Anyway, it is what it is, and this is boxing in Australia. And right now, like I said, there's such a great deal of talent. There's good shows everywhere. Your father, Nathan, you know, Angelo DiCarlo is putting on great shows. So much to say is Brian Amatruda, who has his next fight night on the 1st of March, big time boxing. He's got Kane Watts versus Jaden Joseph. He's got Junlong Zhang, the 20-0 with 20 knockouts Chinaman. He's got my son Willis fighting on the card, so that too should be a good night down in Melbourne.
Yeah,
in the meantime, sorry mate, in the meantime, we've got these two guys bringing out the best of each other, and it is good to see.
Yeah, both these boys are holding a good account of themselves, both letting their hands go, Mark, and both asking questions of each other.
They're definitely asking questions, all right. They're not worried about what punches they're throwing. They're just letting their hands go.
I mean, like, it is surprising. What you mentioned, Nathan, that Jacob, he's got a losing record, but look at him. He's bringing the fight to his opponent. He's got his hands up. He's looking good in this, throwing nice punches. He's doing everything off the jab. I believe he's holding a very good account of himself as he just lifts his hands up there. He's happy with how he's feeling.
In a 4-round fight, Carly, what do? Do you go all out for 4 rounds, or do you play it safe? Do you play it smart?
Well, I think the first thing is you establish that jab, you land that jab, just like we see Mahoney doing, those last rounds. He's trying to land that jab and you come off it. And you keep your hands nice and high. That way you're focusing on your attack and your defense. Like his defense there was smart. When he punched, his defense was moving back. And that was nice. In the meantime, Snook's coming in and he's looking for those shots. Got a little bit of head movement. Good matchup and a good fight. Both guys holding their heads up high as they should.
Yeah, good jab there from Jacob Mahoney, snapping the head back of Snook. Yeah, I agree with you earlier on what you just said, Flanagan, is that, yeah, the 4-round is a bit more of a sprint, but sometimes you can use your attack as your defense as well. So even though you're throwing punches, that's creating some form of defense, because your opponent can't throw over the top of you most of the time. So it is a sprint, so you do have to throw a lot more punches, but sometimes that's to your advantage as well.
That's right.
I think a good example, I think it was Jacob Duffy, Matt Smith fight earlier, where Matt Smith was a 4-rounder. Matt Smith just got hit, he had his chin too high. He was doing good things, but he didn't focus on his defense. He had a nice 1-2 when he was throwing them and landing them.
Mark Snook coming in with a different angle there, just missed with his right hand. Trying to change things up here.
One thing is clear to me, Bam Bam, I can see Snook looks like a guy who just really loves boxing.
Definitely does. Snook's been around for a while, mate, and he's only, like I said, he's only been professional for just over a year or something now. But mate, he's been in the amateur in the league, for a very long time, 10, 11 years as an amateur.
Well,
Jacob Mahoney having good contact there with his right hand twice now, 3 times, and then going to the body straight after.
I think Jacob Mahoney, and I'm speaking here on biased terms, he can smell victory. He can sense, man, I might have a win here tonight. And he's lifting up and he's bringing everything forward. He's determined. He's in good condition. Obviously, I was a bit worried. It looked like he hadn't got a sweat up before he hopped in the ring, but he's doing well now.
Boys,
Snook
they are
comes back and
fighting.
brings the fight.
They are fighting.
But I think Mahoney seems to be the more well-conditioned fight. He just looks in great condition.
And good variation of punches too. You can see he's leading to the head. And you'll go down to the body now. Just to change things up, drop the guard of Snook.
Like you said, Caro, that jab's really working for him tonight. Whether it's landing or not, it's his range fighter. It's what's keeping Snooky from throwing. It's everything for him tonight, and it's working really well.
I agree with you. I like his jab, but I'd like to see Mahoney just look for a right uppercut inside, because Snook's head is there open for that uppercut.
Mate,
it's learning. I mean, obviously he's going to go away. He's still learning. This is only his, 4th fight.
Yep.
I believe he's open. Snook is open for an uppercut from Mahoney when they get him tight. 1-2's outside and then right uppercut inside.
Seconds down.
Last round. Touch him up. Just my thing, man. Let's go. Have a good one.
Fourth and final round. Come on, let's cheer it home. Let's make some noise.
4th and final round here between Mark Snook and Jacob Mahoney. Competitive fight once again.
Come on, we want the
As we see Jacob Mahoney trying to come on, trying to press his paws for the win.
Snook, Mahoney, like I said earlier, he can smell victory, his first victory, so he's trying to bring this fight, but Snook is having none of that. This is the last round, and Snook's coming out with some big punches to start this round off.
Good shots. Snook's still trying to dig that body. He's been looking for it all night.
You know what makes boxing good, guys? What makes fights good? Even matchups.
This is one of them.
So far tonight, we've had all even matchups, and this is good. This is great. There's that uppercut I wanted to see. Well done, Mahoney. Beautiful uppercut. Snook is a tough man, and he just keeps coming. But Jacob Mahoney will always start first with that jab, and it's doing him so well.
Yeah, that was 2 and 3 clean shots this round from Jacob Mahoney, snapping the head back of Snook. Then once again a right hook, just missing the mark there from Mahoney.
Look, he's still coming forward, looking for his own shots though.
He's looking for that left hook, I think. Snook is.
He's not laying down. He's coming. He's finding it again.
The 1-2 is working for Jacob Mahoney, and that right uppercut inside. And Snook lands a nice little short punch. Hit the head of Jacob Mahoney. Last round, and the boys know it. They touch gloves on the backhand. There's a nice uppercut from Mark Snook. Here comes
Mark Snook marching forward with his own punches. Like you said, Mark, there's no dog in him. He's trying to win this fight.
I think he can sense that Mahoney's ahead on points, and he's having none of it. He's bringing this fight to Jacob Mahoney.
You know, guys, this is the kind of stuff I love, you know?
Exactly.
All the way, they fighting all the way to the end. All the way to the end.
And I like how they're sticking to the game plan. Mahoney's been doing that double jab right hand since the first round. It's the last round now. They're fighting along, they're sweating, they're feeling the pinch, but he's still sticking to that 1-2.
It's the oldest combination in boxing, the 1-2, but you always go back to it. It always has success most of the time.
Yes, sir. I like to see Mahoney look for that right uppercut inside. There he goes. To the body. That one was nice.
And a good variation once again there from Mahoney.
And as he learns, he will follow up with a left hook after that uppercut. He can become a dangerous
fighter. They're going to finish in the center ring here, guys. They're going to finish in the center.
This is why we love boxing. Two guys evenly matched, bringing out the best of each other. Center ring, throwing down.
Mark Snook landing with two of his better punches and coming on here, Mark Snook.
Here comes Snook. You can tell there's no dog in him. He's bringing it, but Mahoney answers.
Oh, what a fight. What a fight.
Hats off to both guys. I do believe Jacob Mahoney has his first win as a professional, and I would be very happy to see him because I believe he's earned it.
I've got to agree with you there, Carly. I think he will do enough to get the win tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is how the judges saw the bout. Judge Phil Austin, the judge the bout, 37-39. Judge Adam Height, judged the bout, 38-38. And Judge Rodney Maas, judged the fight, 37-39. Very close fight, but we have a unanimous points decision, and it goes to the red corner, Jacob Mahoney. Give Mark Snook from Townsville a big hand, the Dreams team.